All right, so I heated some water. I heated a half cup of water, hot water, in the microwave for about 45 seconds, and added the 2 tablespoons of vinegar to it, and then dumped it in with the lye water and coconut oil. The 1 gallon of lye water and 32 ounces of coconut oil. And now we're just gonna let it cook and stir it every once in a while, you know, every 15 or 20 minutes. And it's 3 o'clock now here, so I'll be back at around probably 7 or 7:30-ish to kind of see what it's looking like. And I'll just stir it every once in a while, but then eventually in that last hour or so, I kind of just cook it more. I let it cook more without stirring it, and everything kind of gets all stuck together really well and mixes really well. And then at about 8 o'clock, we will pour it into our molds. Oh, and I forgot to say that you're going to want to let it, roll, just boil, you know, just let it boil, get to that point of boiling. I don't know that I said that in the last segment, but yeah, you're going to want it to boil, just roll, boil for a long time. It's going to seem like a long time, especially your first time doing it, but after the, after the 3rd time or so, you'll kind of be able to, you'll just be used to it. So just keep an eye on it too, because you don't want your soap to overflow. And also, like, I'll keep a thermometer and I'll check that, and I try to make sure it doesn't get too hot, so I usually keep it at around 200 degrees. I've read a lot of opinions and a lot of, advice too about soap making. You can research, and there are all kinds of soap makers on what they think is best. I want to say they were saying like 175 degrees to maybe 225, but look it up and see. But I usually keep mine at about 200 degrees, and if it starts getting too hot, like, getting up to 220, I'll kind of turn the burner down a little bit, or if it gets too low, I'll turn it up. But for the most part, you can watch it, and it'll kind of stay consistent with that temperature. Alright, so it's 4:50, so this has been cooking for about an hour, 50 minutes, and it's boiling at about 212 degrees or so, 212, 213. So I just keep watching it and stirring it every once in a while. Alright, so now it's about 5:50, and so it's about an hour later since I last videotaped it. You can see it's still really liquidy, so you're just going to keep cooking it. Right, so it's 6:58, about 7 o'clock. So this soap's been cooking 4 hours, and it's definitely a lot. Like, it's getting thicker, but it's gonna cook at least another hour. So it's 7:27, and I don't know if you can tell, I hope you can tell from this video how it's kind of getting real thick and just kind of gloppy looking. And we're just gonna keep cooking it. Be aware when it starts to thicken up, because you think, oh, where did it all go? Because it goes from like 3/4 of the way full to like a 1/4 of the way full, and then all of a sudden it's going to start thickening and it's going to start getting bigger. So just keep an eye on it and let it continue to thicken up. Alright, so I have the fan on right now because it's pretty smoky in here, but I don't know if you can tell, it's getting a lot thicker now. It's 7:54, so it's almost about 5 hours here, and I'm going to let it I'm going to let it continue to cook because it's not the consistency that I would like it before I pour it in the mold. It's 8 o'clock. It's been about exactly 5 hours now, and I don't know if you can tell, this is like getting really thick now. It's getting like very thick. Thick like pudding. We're going to give it just a little longer. So it is 8:08. I'm going to turn this off. Got the windows open. It's good kind of toward the end when it gets a little smoky to have the windows open. But do you see? Look at this. Look how thick that is, like rice pudding. I'm going to call this done. I believe this is done. Done, done, done. So I'm going to pour it in the soap molds. Now I've got several here, and I'll show you what I got. I'm going to move that off the burner. But I've got several. I've got flowers, hearts, and just a regular pan that you can cut up in pieces. But I'm going to use this one. I found this one recently, and so I'm going to pour in this one, and then if I have extra, I'll pour in one of the other molds. So I've gotten all of the soap in the molds. It's not totally perfect the way that I got it in there. It's a little sloppy, but that's okay. And so yeah, I used it up, and now I'm going to cover it with the towel. So I'm covering it with the towel. This will kind of keep the heat in there while it cools. And now I'm going to take up this part and fold it over. Also, I did want to say that if you are adding essential oil, usually I add an ounce. That's about what I add to this batch of soap. And you're going to add it after it's all done at the end there, when it gets like rice pudding at the ends. When you take it off the burner, you're going to mix your oil in and stir, 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 stir before you put it in your molds. And again, I use about an ounce of oil when I do that. And this particular batch, I don't know if you noticed, I'll get a video of it tomorrow night after I take it out of the molds, but it made 15 bars of soap. That is so awesome. I folded the rest of the towel over the top, and now I'm just going to let it sit overnight, and I'll check on it after 24 hours to see how solid it is, and then pop it out of the mold and probably let it cure, you know, for a few weeks before using, although you can use it right, you know, right after it solidifies. This particular soap, at least it doesn't with us, it doesn't burn our skin. So with some of those, with using the food grade lye, you know, you do have to definitely be aware, and whether you're doing cold process or hot process. Usually with hot process you can use faster than the cold process. Cold process, you have to let it cure, I think, like maybe 6 weeks. But anyways, there's a lot of research you can do out there on what's going to work best for you. But I hope this video will help you and bless your family and save you money and get you all some good, healthy stuff to use at home. All right. Thank you so much, and God bless.